Welcome back to the Cessna 154 channel. In today's video I'll be taking a look at TrackIR 5, specifically looking at how this product works with Flight Simulator 10. Now TrackIR 5, as you saw in an earlier video, is a head tracking software and hardware setup that really adds realism to the Flight Simulator experience. But first I want to show you what many of us experience on our flight sims right now. I have a Saytech X52 joystick, and in order to move around the virtual cockpit, I have to use the controls on the joystick to simply just very crudely move around left, right, up, and down. As you can see, it's not a very fluid motion. It's very jerky. It's hard to zoom in or to move around cleanly, and it's really hard to find the exact location where you're trying to zoom in. So like for instance here, I'm trying to zoom in, but I have to keep moving around left and right to navigate to this certain spot. Perhaps I want to zoom in on those controls down there, and it's quite the process to get the exact location. And that is a big problem that many of us experience, especially if you're trying to make videos or things of that nature, where you need to have that fluid motion. Now when it comes to taking off, I find it to be very difficult using just the joystick or yoke controls to move the point of view perspective in the cockpit. And again here, you want to get a look out of the window, or perhaps you want to look at your controls a bit closer. You're going to find yourself spending a lot of time moving around within the cockpit using those controls on your joystick. There's different switches and 8-point controls. And again, if you want to zoom in, you have to use the plus and minus keys, and you spend way too much time focusing on that and not so much on your flying abilities, which often results in takeoffs or landings or just any type of flight that's not very good. So next up, let's take a look at the TrackIR 5 difference, or in other words, a bit of a compare and contrast to what the earlier part of this video was all about. As you can see right away, the video is much more crisp. There's not so much jerkiness to it. The motions around the cockpit are more fluid, as some would say. You're able to easily navigate without making any quick motions with the camera angles, the point of view. I'm able to get right down into the controls here, something that I really wasn't able to do very well by just using the hat switch on my Saytech X52. Different controllers and yokes have different options when it comes to hat switches, and whether it's a 6 or 8 point control surface. But regardless, as you can see here, when compared to the Saytech, the TrackIR 5 is able to provide a lot of different angles. You're able to sit up higher in the seat, sit lower, look out the windows much easier, and that's why I've really found this product to be much more useful, especially for people who like to make videos, and also people who want to add extra realism to their experience. And when it comes to taking off, you're on takeoff roll, or perhaps you're doing checks, and you want to zoom in on those gauges, or you want to take a better look at your radio panels or other panels within the aircraft. When you're using TrackIR 5, the head tracking hardware and software setup will allow you to really get right into the panels, right into the gauges on any aircraft, and you're able to really get a good idea of what's going on with your aircraft, and you don't have to use the plus or minus keys on your keyboard to zoom in or zoom out, and you don't have to use your hat switch to get those different perspectives and angles, which is very ineffective. And I've been receiving quite a few different private messages through YouTube about what do I find to be the strongest aspect to this unit. What does TrackIR 5 offer the average person when it comes to improving their flight sim experience? And I have to say that I found it to be rather useful when I'm just cruising around at different altitudes. Maybe I'm doing low flight, maybe doing high altitude cruising, and I just find it useful to be able to look out of the windows much easier and have much quicker access to panels, gauges, and not have to zoom in with those keyboard controls or use my joystick, and it's just much more effective. And it's a product that many people will find useful, some perhaps will not. It's up for you to decide. There's a link in the sub bar where you can check out the website for TrackIR 5 and make the decision for yourself. So thank you for watching. Please post questions and comments in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys soon.